Welcome to another Apollo Papyrus podcast episode. I am Aaron Apollo Camp. If you're an American who has ever watched commercial television, you may remember the commercials and infomercials featuring a man in a question mark suit touting books listing U.S. government grants and other government-sponsored financial assistance programs. For this episode, my interview guest is the man in the question mark suit and the author of the Free Money books. His name is Matthew Lesko, and my interview with Matthew will follow the note-taking sounds. Matthew Lesko, welcome to the Apollo Papyrus podcast.
Well, thank you. Happy to be here, there, wherever you are.
This is an audio-only podcast, but you are very well known for wearing a question mark suit. How did your trademark question mark suit come about?
Well, I probably started when I was about 12. And it took me till about 50-something to get the balls to do it. It's me inside, and starting out and trying to make a living in this world. I was failing at everything, and then after I spent a lot of money, time, and everything, and failing at stuff, I finally, God, I'm not having fun. I'm not succeeding, and everything seems, well, I have to be miserable until someday in the future I may have fun, and that didn't sound good to me. So, because there's no guarantee about the future having fun, so I got to start having fun now, and that's when things change, and that's why I think failure is probably the most important thing that happens to you, because it's the only way that gets shit out of your head that isn't right. Somebody else put it there, and it's not for you. And you don't know any better, because we're all struggling in life. And so we have to struggle and fail. And that's how you grow, is by failing. You don't grow in success, you grow in failure. Like riding a bicycle, you have to fall on your butt a whole bunch of times to learn how that thing really works. And you can't sit in a classroom and learn. You got to get on that bike and fall down. And so and this was inside of me. I was always interested in clothes and things like that. But something a little more, I like being well, this is me inside, is really what it boils down to. This is how I feel, what I am inside. And if I put that on the outside, then it attracts people I know I'll like. Because if you think this is stupid, we're saving each other lots of times, because I don't think it's stupid. So we don't have much to talk about. But if you like this, then we got lots to talk about.
You are very well known for the Free Money books that you write. Without spoiling too much of the Free Money books, how many of them are there, and what are they about?
Well, I've written about 100 books, and about only 10 have made money. And they're really just all about how to use government. See, what people don't realize is what our government does. Our society is made up of two portions. 60% of our society is capitalism. Okay, and that works pretty well for us. A lot of people copy that. And that's where people get paid to do things. Okay, so if you want anything done, or if you need money or anything, you have to buy it. Okay, so it's all about transactions of money. But we have another part of our society, which I call the free money economy. And that's government offices and nonprofit organizations that give you money. They'll never ask you for money, except for taxes. But everything they create money and services and products and everything that they give away for free. And that represents 40%. 60% is capitalism, 40% is the free money economy. So I'm trying to teach people about the free money economy. And the rich people know this. That's how I learned. I was helping rich people use this stuff, 50 years ago. And I was helping millionaires become billionaires. And I said, geez, I grew up in a place called Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, a little coal mining town in northeastern Pennsylvania. Nobody knew about any of this stuff. To them, the government, and to me too, the government was the post office and taxes and the DMV, and that was it. And it is so much more, and they're tools and sources to help you in life, to get through financial problems, to improve your life for living conditions, or uh, uh, to start organizations or ideas and grow yourself so you could help our economy better. So, and people don't realize that because we're so conditioned that you have to pay for everything. The rich know different. That's why all these billionaires are following Trump around every day. They know it's easier to get $1 billion from the government than anywhere else in America.
How often are your books updated with new editions?
I don't write books anymore. About 10 years ago, people stopped buying books, particularly reference books. It's online. And it took me many years to figure out how to support myself if I couldn't sell books anymore. And eventually, because I wanted to do it, so I hung in there long enough till I found out and developed a way. And what we have now is a community. And I wasn't sure how I was going to do this initially, and it grew into something I never even dreamed of. But I needed a way to pay my rent. And so I thought, oh, I got a subscription service. But the subscription service where people pay like $20 a month, because I used to charge thousands and thousands of dollars helping rich people. They'll pay anything to get money. But the people who really need it can't afford that. So I wanted to have something, like a $20. That's what I figure is a fair price. And I didn't really care too much how much money I made, as long as I make a living and do what I thought was important to do with the rest of my life. And what happened, though, is that the people who joined started helping each other. So now we have what I call 15,000 people that are helping each other get these grants. So they don't even need me. And I think they're even better to help people because I've been doing it for 50 years, and it's hard for me to relate to somebody who just found out about it. And uh, me 50 years, I would be bored with their questions. Yeah. And can't relate to them and what they feel in starting out on this. But another member who just found out and just got money, I mean, that I think is an important aspect of what we do. And I'm just shocked that we're able to do it for only $20. And it's just been wonderful. Like 15,000 people, I never thought, I thought maybe if I got a couple thousand would have been great. That's all I needed. So it's beyond my dreams.
Now, what you're describing, this new online community you helped build, it's called the Lesko Help community. Is that correct?
Right. LeskoHelp.com. And yes, and we have workshops every day, 3, 4 hours live Zoom workshops. You could drop in and talk to people who got the money, and they tell you how they got it and things like that. Where you could ask us 100 questions a day if you like. And one of the most important things is we give grants ourselves. I mean, this has become so profitable. It shocks me, it embarrassed me, because I was just trying to make a living. So after we pay everybody, we give our profits back to members. So every month, and we have a small organization, just a handful kind of thing. Every month we give out $50,000 to $70,000 grants to members, either $500 or $1,000 to help them along with expenses.
What is it like for you to research and find out about obscure U.S. federal government grant and other financial assistance programs?
It's treasure hunting. I get so excited when holy shit, I didn't know that. And after 50 years, I still feel that way because I know it's helpful to somebody. And I don't, information is so complex out there. We don't know what to ask for. And that's why you only find the good stuff by stumbling into it by accident. You have to go on a mission of looking for, but you don't know exactly what you're looking for because you don't know how it's out there. And so while you're looking for something else, what happens is something else you should have been looking for, but didn't know enough to do that, is in front of you and say, "Oh God, this is great."
What are some examples of some of the more obscure government programs that have been featured in your books or have been uh, featured as part of Lesko Help?
Oh, well, there are, literally millions of programs and there, oh gosh, I mean, every day let's see, someone said, okay, get 6 months of rent paid if you're ill or disabilities. Okay. And you get that from the healthcare system. They'll pay your rent for 6 months. Okay. You could put a party in your town this summer for $10,000. The utility company will give you a $7,000 grant to help with living expenses. You call 211 and find what I call a free money fireman that will come and give you a $18,000 grant. This is how I see the government is and nonprofits. They're like firemen in our society. Okay. We live in a society that if your house is on fire, you call the government. If you call the fire department, they come out and fix, put out the fire in your house, right? And they don't come first, knock on the door and ask for your credit card, you know? So they just are there to put out your fire. And see, if you go to Google to do that, they're going to ask for your credit card first. So we have services, anything now. Can you go online now? I could show you a website.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, go to findhelp.org.
Okay. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put that in the text description of the episode once it's uploaded.
Okay. But no, I'd like you to see it if you want.
Okay. Well, I could do that right now here. Let me get in my web browser here.
I'd love to hear what you think when you see this.
Findhelp.org.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's a zip code's the first thing they ask you for.
Yeah. Put your zip code in there.
Okay. I won't. I'll just type it in. I won't reveal it. Ooh, over 2,000 programs. 2,081, right. It says in my zip code.
Yeah, so you got over 2,000 programs in your zip code that give you out free money and help for anything. They're all firemen. They're there to just help you, whether it's paying your rent, your mortgage, your utilities, your fix your car, your babysitting, anything, your senior. They're like firemen. They don't come and ask you for your credit card.
Says the disclaimer at the bottom, this curated database of resources is provided by Find Help, a public benefit corporation.
Right. Yeah, that's a nonprofit. There's another one too called 211 that they copy. I like Find Help better because it's more national. The other one is a little funky in every different zip code. But they have a phone number. You could call 211 and ask them. But I don't think that's good. I don't think calling an operator about a program versus going in, like now, if you put in rent in the keyword, you'll probably get 50 organizations that help you with rent. That's what you want. Because you need a listing of sources to start tackling and calling to see which one really will help you.
Now, regarding your books, were all of those independently, traditionally, or hybrid published, or did you use different publishing methods over the years?
Yes, well, in the beginning, I did mostly business to business. So I print and publish myself, but they're expensive books. And then when the consumer, then I got a New York publisher and, Penguin and a bunch of others in New York City. And I got 2 New York Times bestsellers, but I didn't make much money. So then I started publishing my own consumer books, and I couldn't afford it to get it in bookstores. See, the problem with bookstores, you have to have all the books in bookstores before you sell them. And then you go out and sell them and hope they sell. So I couldn't afford to do that. But I learned how to get on talk shows. And I learned that I could give an 800 number if people wanted my book. So then people would call the 800 number and I'd have their money before they had the book. So that I could do. I could do. And so I grew that way and started publishing myself. And then sold, published my own books and got all the money instead of just 5% or 7% what they were giving me. And that was crazy.
Okay. What are some of the biggest misconceptions that people have about government grants and financial aid?
Well, a lot of people think I'm handsome, and I don't think that's true at all. I mean, I have no idea where people. I'm sorry. Yeah, there's a lot of misconceptions, and that's what keeps people. I think the biggest problem is people think it's in Google, and that's the worst thing for people to know about if they want to solve problems and they don't have a lot of money. You have to stay away from Google because they will just sell you something or scam you. And it's a death trap. So that's the thing. The other big thing is, I think I hear most is that they're complicated, the applications. That can be true, but 90% of the time it's not for the individual. Individual grant applications, you need money to live on or start a business or, it's 2, 3 pages, fill in the blanks. You never need a grant writer. And if you do, the agencies will help you fill that out. And people spend their time and money looking for grant writers before you even see the application. So if you think you need a grant writer, see the application first, then make that decision. My favorite line about that is, it's like having a grant writer is like getting a prom dress before you're invited to the prom. Yeah. So you have to know where to apply. That's the hard part, finding the right application. That's why I say something like Find Help is great because now you have 70 places that just give out money for rent. So you have to call each one of those to find out which one is for you. And then see, as you're calling them, you also ask them, hey, okay, you're not for me, but where else? They're going to know other places that aren't even in the database because they do that work every day of helping people like you. That's who you want to talk to, not people like me who sell you stuff. You want to talk to the real people that are helping you with these problems, and they get paid to help you with those problems.
How has the government financial assistance landscape changed in the United States since your last book was published, especially since the beginning of the COVID pandemic?
Yeah. Well, COVID was a big anomaly because that helped me because it educated people about government giving out money. They just gave out money to everybody. Who the hell you were. Yeah. And they sent it out from one source. So that was, and that's why I thought my business would disappear after that because they weren't doing that anymore. But no, it grew. And the money grows every year. I've been doing this for 50 years. There's not a year that gone by that the next year is not bigger than the last year.
One final question for this interview. What is the best advice you could provide to someone who is seeking financial assistance from the United States federal government or a state government or a local government for the first time?
Well, I mean, my best, at 81, I'm different than at 31 or 41. Now I feel to get anything done in life, whether it's finding money or starting a new career or anything you want to do, is you have to listen to your heart. The information out there is dubious many times and everything, and it's going to be a pain in the ass no matter what you want to do. So don't think it's easy. And that's why experts want to convince you that life is easy. Just do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that I tell you to do, and you'll be a millionaire. And that's just stupid. There may be something good in there, and maybe helpful, but it's not going to be true for you probably, and high probability. So what you have to do is, if you're following your heart, you want to do this. And it's the same with the personal relationships and your professional relationships. You have to want to do that because you're going to run into roadblocks all the time. Something like you're going to learn something new. You're going to fall over on the bike. You got to get up again and do it. You're learning how to walk. You're going to fall down. You got to get up again and do it. Anything you want to do in life is like walking the first time. And so people will say you're going to fail, and you just tell them, yes, I know. I have to. That's the only way to get forward.
Matthew, you were an amazing guest for the Apollo Papyrus podcast, and I thank you for appearing on here.
Oh, well, that's sweet of you to say, Aaron. Thank you so much. That's nice.
It's wonderful to hear that the Lesko Help community is strong and able to help a lot of people. This is Aaron Apollo Camp reminding you all to find your writing and reading purpose. Bye for now. Copyright 2025, Aaron Apollo Camp, all rights reserved. This podcast episode is intended for the private listening of our audience. Any reuse or retransmission of this podcast episode without the express written consent of the podcast host is prohibited except under fair use guidelines. Royalty-free music and sound effects obtained from https://www.zapsplat.com.